Now, Apple claims the European Commission is unfairly singling it out by forcing it to pay nearly $14 billion in back taxes to Ireland, where it has its European headquarters. And in fact, Ireland agrees and is appealing the Commission's decision. Now, the Commission maintains that Ireland gave Apple illegal preferential treatment. Andre-Pierre du Plessis takes a look.
In 1980, Apple's founder Steve Jobs chose Ireland for his first office outside the US. He found the country's low corporate tax rate appealing, and since 1991, the Irish state gave the tech giant considerable aid. But following a 2-year investigation, the European Commission earlier this year found that Ireland is giving Apple an unfair advantage over other multinationals. It ordered the Irish government to recoup $13.5 billion in taxes from Apple. According to the investigation, Apple had an elaborate system to evade taxes. It set up 2 offices in Cork, one with a few thousand employees selling products solely in Ireland. A second, called Apple International, accounts for sales throughout Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and India. But Apple International has no employees and no premises, allowing it not to be taxed. The Commission used Apple's 2011 tax year as an example, saying it made a profit of $22 billion, of which only $55 million were taxed, or effectively 0.05%. Ireland has now published its arguments to appeal against the EU's decision, saying its interpretation of the Irish tax code is incorrect. Apple will launch its legal challenge separately this week, but CEO Tim Cook has already indicated where the company stands.
That it's total political crap. There's no truth behind it.
Last week, US President-elect Donald Trump invited Cook to a special meeting. Trump has promised to give companies like Apple a big tax break for bringing money it makes abroad back to the US. Although details on what the two discussed wasn't made public, it is expected that Trump will tout his negotiating skills to convince Apple to pay the $13.5 billion tax bill to the US and not the EU. But it's something that the Obama administration has floated for a long time.
As the head of the U.S. tax agency, I've been concerned that it reflects an attempt to reach into the U.S. tax base to tax income that ought to be taxed in the United States.
Apple's battle with the EU is likely to continue for years. And as it's not the only US company facing similar tax troubles in Europe, it could ultimately deter other multinationals from investing there. Andre-Pierre du Plessis, TRT World.